Hi, it's Colin Clapp, onlinemarketingdoneforyou.com. Today I'm back continuing our talks and look into website effectiveness and website return on investment. Yeah, we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. I want to remind you that you have a right to a return on investment from your website. You know, it should not be something you just put up, forget about, and don't get any money back on. Okay, it's a significant marketing investment. You deserve a return on investment. The starting point is data. You need to have some data, regular and easy to understand data, and that's what we're trying to do. So today I'm going to recap the why and the what, and help you on the road to making better marketing investment decisions. So just before I go on, if you know anyone who is suffering from what I call the disease of unfulfilled website expectations, make sure you share this video with them. In fact, this series of videos with them, they can pick everything up at onlinemarketingdoneforyou.com/links. And there you'll also be able to get access to our return on investment calculator and also register for our upcoming free masterclass, 5 key steps to making friends with Google, which takes place this Thursday. So I'll talk about that a bit later. Everything at onlinemarketingdoneforyou.com/links. Okay, right, on with the show. So big picture. So the big picture is that so many websites get built and then they are just left and forgotten about, and no one gives the owner any data to tell them whether or not the website is succeeding. And that is just plain wrong. You would not employ an accountant and pay him, several $1,000s a year, and then he doesn't give you any feedback on how you have performed. You would not go to a sporting franchise and not know the score. So why would you invest several $1,000s into a website and then never know the score, Okay, so that's what it's all about. Big picture, websites can't afford to just look pretty. They must have some substance underneath them. Now, the principle of Google is that Google's model is, and any of the search engines, their job is to make sure that the people typing in things into the search query bars get what they're looking for. I use the analogy of a library. If you go to a library, a well-indexed library, you should be able to find what you're looking for. And the search engines are the modern-day library, and the good librarians know how to direct you to the best resources for you to get what you want. So you need to know, if you're selling your goods and services, when people type things into the search browsers, your website is answering that question, because the search site, the Bings, the Yahoos, the Googles, they're the librarians, and they will serve up the best answer. So you want to be friendly with those librarians, and that's why we want to make friends with the search engines, okay? And I talked about push versus pull marketing. That's really the difference between inquiries coming to you or you constantly pushing what you have to offer. When the search engines are working for you, the inquiries will be coming to you because it will be organic traffic rather than you having to go out, do a lot of networking, etc., or advertising, dropping a heap amount of cash to get advertising dollars working for you. It can be organic. Big picture, I talked about this before, you can't manage what you can't measure. So this is why I talk about the data. And Google gives you free tools, okay? Google gives you free tools. It wants you to succeed. It gives you tools to help you to do that. And that is why, starting with the data. And don't worry if it's too overwhelming. There's lots of ways to simplify it. But if you don't know how well you're performing, then how can you improve? And I talked about why project managers can be bad for your business when it comes to website effectiveness. Now, what I mean by that is there's nothing wrong with a good project manager, not whatsoever. But, in what tends to happen in practice is that people who thrive on projects and deadlines and getting something finished and completed, that is their nature. That they like to build things, they like to make it the best, put it on their CV, put it on their portfolio, respond to the deadline, respond to the camaraderie that goes into building teams to make things happen. Well, that requires a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and to a degree, a lot of adrenaline. But what happens is when the project goes live is that adrenaline's not there anymore, because the concept of delivering and keeping this thing going on an ongoing basis, you know, whether it's a house or a website or a series of something or other, the maintenance is different from the setup. And the people required to maintain something have different skill sets than the ones employed to create something. So when I say a project manager can be bad for your business, what I'm saying is, for your website to be effective, it needs monitoring on an ongoing basis. And the person with the skills to do that is going to be different from the person who built it. So don't be relying on the person who put their heart and soul into getting you a great looking website out on time. They're not the person to maintain it and necessarily turn it into the effective sales and inquiry machine that you want it to be. All right. That pretty much wrapped up the big picture. That's week one. In week two, I dived into the data, and I asked a few questions. You know, how many people are coming to your website? What are they interested in? How interested are they? And who are they and where do they come from? And those are 4 just general marketing questions. You know, the more you know about your customers, the better you can serve them. And use the analogy, it's no different in a bricks and mortar business. If you've got a shop and people are streaming past your high street window, that's all well and good. Now you have a marketing problem in getting them into your store. Okay, but once they come through the store, maybe they don't buy. You know, maybe they mill around in the store. Maybe they mill around in certain aspects, certain areas of the store. So you have a different problem. You know, if they're hovering in one corner, looking at one range of this, that, or the other, and they're not buying, then you have a conversion. Your interest is good, but you have a conversion problem. Or they might be going to all sorts of areas, and then it might be that the products are not living up to their expectations, and then you have a different problem. So if you can use the data to help you have some insights as to, you know, first of all, how many are coming, because that's one problem. What are they interested in? How interested are they? And then if you can know a little bit more about them, who they are, where they're from, then you've got a much better chance of tweaking your offers and giving them what they want. And all this data is available, made available to you by Google, and all you need to do is get it. And you can get it in, week out, and be making much better marketing investment decisions. Okay, so I talked about there is buried treasure in your site, and you can get that from a tool called Google Search Console, and that is one of the free tools that is going to be included in the masterclass. So remember, 5 steps to making friends with Google using free tools. That is coming up later this week. So yeah, go to onlinemarketingdoneforyou.com/links. You will see an option there to register, and you'll be able to get access to all the other videos we talked about. All right. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Making friends with Google is possible. You can do it. Google gives you tools to make it happen. And that's what we're going to be covering in the masterclass at the end of the week. So yeah, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to actually talk about how we discovered this and overcome some of our own struggles to make friends with Google, how we went from languishing down the bottom, unseen, and moved up the rankings to be page 1 for a number of keyword terms. And that's helped us move forward in our business. So we're going to cover all of that in the masterclass. So yeah, share this with anyone you know who is suffering from that disease of unfulfilled website expectations. I'll be happy to help them in any way I can. Free masterclass. That's coming up on Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, over and out. Colin Clapp, Online Marketing Done For You. Remember to share now. Take care. Bye-bye.